Yeah. I've got a little bit of a controversial question for you here, so I don't know if you want to answer this or not, but there's a lot of press in the media at the moment, and people believe, you know, the war in Palestine and, you know, in that area, there's a lot of things that are not going quite right in Israel, and a lot of people have boycott a lot of brands. If you had a brand that people in the media saying you should boycott, but they're offering you good money, are you still going to go for it? Or where does the sort of balance start in terms of, hey, I don't know when my next job's coming and I might get 20,000 for this next deal, or no, that's not right to take this because I believe something not correct is happening in the sort of Middle East?
Yeah. I mean, for me personally, I think my morals and my values are the core of everything I do, and I've been really vocal about that online. So money is never really the goal for me, and I'm in a fortunate enough financial position that I probably wouldn't have to take a brand deal just for the money. But I also think people need to give content creators grace online, because it is literally like asking a lawyer to stop their job or an accountant to stop their job, which is their income and their livelihood, because of something that might be 3, 4, 5 parties removed from what they're actually associated with. But at the same time, I think it's so important for people with a platform to use it, to speak up. They have an influence, even if they're doing something completely different to someone else, that they should be using it in a positive way. And if they believe in something, I think it's so important to speak up about it. And that's something I've done continuously on my platform, which isn't always easy.
What do you think of cancel culture? There's so many people in their WhatsApp status said, these 10 celebrities haven't spoken about this and they should have, block them and delete them. And like, people are actually, I wouldn't say waking up, but they're trying to have their own say to say, look, this is like humanity, what's happening right now, and people are not standing up for it. So what do you really stand for? What do you think of that cancel culture? Because it could literally ruin somebody as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a difference between cancel culture and actually holding people with a platform accountable, because I think everyone with a platform does have a responsibility and should be speaking up for what's right and wrong. Obviously that's subjective, so that might be whatever you view. But I think there's also a difference between the cancel culture where someone might have made a mistake and said something without thinking, or maybe 10, 20 years ago when they were a kid that hadn't really grown up, said something that was obviously really questionable. There's a difference between sort of holding someone accountable to that and, you know, making them apologise and grow from it and move on, versus actually holding people accountable for something that is quite clearly right versus wrong. And ultimately, I think people also need to remember, you control who you follow. So if you don't agree with what something or someone says, you can unfollow them, you can block them. But I think where the problem lies is that people forget that content creators and influencers are also real human beings, and there's a difference between holding people accountable and just attacking them as a person, which is horrible and no one should ever go through. So if you don't agree with it, block them, move on. But I don't think it should ever get to a point where people are receiving death threats or just attacks on them as a person, whether it's physical or mental, because I don't think anyone should have to go through that.